All right, you're good to go.
Okay. I would like to call to order Airway Heights Planning Commissioners meeting, March 8, 2023 at 6 p.m. And the meeting is currently via electronic method. Like to call, see who's present today. Cal Patel, present. Commissioner Mark,
Present.
Commissioner Angelina,
Present.
Commissioner Bill,
Present.
Commissioner Don is excused for tonight's meeting. He already notified us. Commissioner Justin.
Present.
Okay, so do we need to do a motion to for the absentee, or we'll just put it in record that it was already he already told us that he wasn't coming tonight?
A motion of the commission to acknowledge the excused absence.
Okay.
I'll make that
Go
motion,
ahead,
Cal,
Mark.
to excuse Don Mitchell from tonight's meeting.
Who wants to second it? Anybody?
I'll second it.
Who was that?
Justin Davis.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's move to the Pledge of Alliances. If everybody's ready. I pledge
Allegiance to the
allegiance
flag
to the flag
of the United States of America,
To
to the republic
and to the republic
for which it
stands
stands,
one nation under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
justice
justice for all.
all. Mark, somebody wanna give me a motion to approve tonight's agenda? If there any change stuff, we have any amendments or changes on this?
There are no changes to the agenda proposed for this evening.
Or if somebody likes to move a motion to approve it,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
somebody
I'll second.
Angelina second, all in favor?
Aye.
We don't have the minutes from the last meetings. There is any public comments, Zach?
We do have several members of the public here, so I would like, if anyone would like to make a public comment, please type it in the chat and I will unmute you. We'll give you about a minute.
I guess we have nobody.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay.
We can circle back around if it comes in late.
Okay, so let's move to, since we don't have any presentations tonight, public hearing, actions. So excuse me, we'll move into workshops. And the first one is introduction of the newly appointed planning commissioner members. Staff, how we gonna handle that?
Oh, we just wanted to have an opportunity to recognize and thank our new planning commission members that are joining us for the first time tonight. Those include Bill Campbell and Justin Davis. Don Mitchell, as we've heard earlier, had already had plans to be out of town before the appointment process began. So just thank you very much. Welcome to the Planning Commission. And I believe that there was an opportunity to say hello, but certainly if both of the new members wanted to say a little bit to the commission as a way of introduction about themselves, that would be great.
Well, I'd like to welcome the new members to the board officially. Thank you. Your time and your effort is most appreciated. And we look forward in working together as a team. And like I said in the last meeting, attendance is very important. So please let us know in advance if you have plans or something changes. Thank you.
No, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Look forward to working with both of y'all. Thank you.
If
Yes,
there's
our
no-
board is
go ahead.
just growing. It's great.
If there's not any further comments or discussion, I'd like to move to CPM mining and rezone application introduction stuff. Because I think A and B is together,
Oh, we,
right?
No,
no,
yeah, go ahead, Heather.
we have a, we do have another opportunity for a planning commission candidate to.
Oh, okay,
fill
sorry.
the, final position for planning commission, and that person is here this evening, and just gonna have to scroll through here. Mr. Andre Dove is joining us this evening. He is interested in joining the commission, and per your past practice, he's here to meet all of you. Welcome very much to our meeting, Mr. Dove.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to attend. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to attend. I suppose that you want to know just a bit about me. Is that correct?
It's very basic. A summary would help.
Very basic. All right. I'll give it to you in 2 to 3 minutes. All right.
Okay,
So
thank you.
veteran of the United States Air Force, served during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I pastor a church here in Spokane, actually, on Sunset Highway, called Restoration Church. I'm an author. I have a family, wife, a blended family, 8 children from the age of 30 to 2. And so I'm a former high school vice principal and middle school principal for the charter school, which was Innovation High School in Spokane. And I guess that'll be me in a synopsis. So.
Nice. It looks like you've done quite a bit and volunteered with quite a bit. So you'll do great if you get into public service in the city.
Thank you.
We'll bring
Thank
a different view of ideas and everything. So we do appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Mr. W, do you have any questions about the planning commission or the planning commission meetings, or the favorite thing or the thing they like the least about it? These are pretty informal.
Just really would like to know the overall objective of the commission. I'm not 100% sure in terms of what the duties of the commission are as it relates to the city of Airway Heights. So that's the first question that I would have.
You answer that stuff, or do you want me to do that?
I think it would be great if the commission members provided that response. I can backfill like a,
Yeah, if I forget something, just fill in the blanks, okay? I think the minimum we expect from all the commissioners is at least to attend a meeting once a month, which is on the first Wednesday of the month. And we do expect everybody to attend. We expect you to review all the paperwork that Zach sends out. And Zach's been very good about sending the paperwork about a week ahead instead of an hour before the meeting. So that has been a big change here. So we would expect that. We like you to express your opinion, your views, and always keeping the city citizens and the safety as a first thing in your ideas. And I expect the commissioners not to be abusive or start an argument. Nothing is personal. Our common goal is to see the city grow, and safety is also an important factor. So we expect that you view your opinions. We don't all have to agree on anything. So I hope with so many commissioners now, we can have a multiple views of ideas and take things differently, rather than usually we have 2 or 3 people. So normally we all agree on it and we move forward. So I'm looking forward to that. Especially I like to see A and a B opinions about many things that we do here. And staff normally has a good presentation of all the documents. They do present everything, but as commissioners, it's our duty to make sure that all the checks are in balance. If I
To add to
forgot
what
anything
Cal's
else, go
saying.
ahead.
Sorry, Cal, I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were
No, go
done. I
ahead.
apologize. Just say to add to what Cal's doing, we're getting information from staff to help the city make decisions on what our future is and providing recommendation to city council based on our debate and stuff. So practically what we've done is the city's downtown plan is a good example of this. The city decided they wanted to change the downtown, redo the zoning and stuff for that downtown area. And the commission, or the planning commission, was one of the first people to discuss this, make recommendations. We had spirited debate that involves one of the new commissioners on the panel right now about this issue. And then we sent off our recommendation to city, did they voted on that, right, Heather?
Yeah.
So they voted on and adopted the downtown plan and put that into motion. And I mean, there's been other things like we did at the art commission, creating that for the city, redoing the industrial zone in the city, just these things. It's providing our opinion to city council to make a final decision.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that from both of you all.
Thank you.
Yep, so we focus on planning, of course, and work with the Airway Heights Planning Department. We focus on land use, transportation, capital facilities, essential public facilities, utilities, our parks and recreation, our housing. We went over housing plans and how, of course, there's a shortage of housing and we have a shortage of land base for housing. So the last few meetings, Heather and Zach graciously introduced different types of housing that we could possibly consider in the future. And we've gotten grants, pretty hefty, good sized grants. Our planning department here is doing an amazing job. And I used to work with Zach at Eastern Washington University when he was getting his degree, and he's just amazing under the CertCom program. And I live here out in Airway Heights, so I'm just ecstatic to see how it grows. I'm also a tribal member, and so I can assist with the tribes out here. And you know, we need to work really well with the tribes. Of course, they provide all these jobs and growth and a great asset to the communities, and they have contributed fire station, some transportation area routes, I believe, and they are could be a resource in the future for further growth. We also focus on economic development, community design, and natural environment. And we also need to really consider climate change. And I have brought up the fact that we need to be planting more trees out here several times. I have just never gone. We try to get other entities involved. I was with 350 Spokane Climate Change, and they have volunteered to also help us do that. But we have been so busy, and COVID, of course, put a damper on things, slowed that project down, but I kind of want to pick that back up eventually. But I won't keep going about that. I can go on and on. I'm just happy to see we have another person that wants to join our team.
Well, thank you so much for your explanation and expertise in this area, for sure.
Thank you.
I guess if there's nothing further, we can move to C. CPM mining rezone application introduction.
Really quick before we jump there, Andre, I'm going to bring your materials to the study session at the city council on Monday. So we'll have more information for you after that.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Cal.
Oh, sorry. Andre, I think you applied for the council position, right? Before the planning commissioner?
Yes, I did apply for one of the seats on the city council, but then that I was not successful in that, which was no problem. But then Albert Tripp thought that being a part of the planning commission would be something where I could get my feet wet and understand the things that are going on in the planning commission as it relates to Airway Heights. So I asked if there were any positions available, and so that's why I'm ending up here at this point.
It is a good choice because everybody on the council has gone through the planning commissioner, so it is a good starting point. And if you want to move forward, this is a place to start.
No, I appreciate that, and just so that you know, one of my areas of expertise as a visionary, and I like to see the long-term vision of a thing. And so living here in Airway Heights, I drive through here every day. I live here, interacting, and just really can see the enormous possibilities that exist, and how Airway Heights can be the place where people want to live. So that's why I'm excited to hopefully be a part of the commission in the near future.
Nice.
Thank you. Nice. Any-
Stay for this next
Go ahead.
slide in our next section, and you'll see what we do a lot of.
Okay.
C, right?
Yeah.
Can we go to
this is
C? Workshop C, CPM mining rezone application introduction. Stuff.
I think Zach's gonna do the presentation on
Okay,
this, so I'll just give a little intro while he's pulling the documents up. So, per our normal practice, when we have an application that by code is reviewed by the planning commission as an advisory body to land use issues, advisory bodies to the city council, we do just a simple overview of what the proposal is. It is not a request to debate the application. It is just simply introduction of it. And since we have new planning commission members, we're going to be following this overview with an introduction of the hearing process, because as a commission, you're going to be conducting a hearing next month with regards to this application, and that'll include hearing the review of the application by various staff, information from the applicant, the public will be in attendance, etc. So with that, I'll just hand this over to Zach to do an overview of this new application.
Yeah, we'll just do a general overview of what CPM is asking for. As you guys, well, most of you know, I like maps, so I'd like to start there. So the subject parcel in question is this parcel right here. As you can see, the zoning on this parcel is a little different than the parcels next door. So the existing CPM mining operation, which is taking place on this parcel here, I don't think they've expanded to this parcel yet, but they're currently here, is within the I2 heavy industrial zone. Mining is allowed within the I2 heavy industrial zone with a conditional use permit. They're looking to expand to this parcel, which is zoned I1 light industrial. There are several aspects to this application. The one aspect of the application that you will be reviewing is the rezone. So they are requesting to rezone from I1 light industrial to I2 heavy industrial. And once that rezone is complete, they are then going to apply for a conditional use permit, which will then be reviewed by a third-party hearings examiner for approval. So you're not reviewing the actual use, you are reviewing the rezone from I2 to I1. Again, this is CPM mining. Their operation is primarily aggregate mining, rocks, gravel, things like that. Let me see if I got everything here. Heather, is there anything I'm missing on this application that you wanted me to cover?
So in this particular case, for rezone, we consider the merits of a overall rezone designation in the state of Washington. We consider the overall intensity of uses, and when we get into the hearing next month, we'll talk about within the heavy industrial zone where the range of uses that would be allowed, what the range of uses under the current light industrial zone are. So in the state of Washington, we consider just the overall change of zoning. We would not be looking specifically at just the proposed use because ownership changes, zoning can last for generations. So the goal here is to look at the intensity change that is proposed by a rezone. And so that's a clarification that may be helpful when we review this next time. And so while there is a specific application of use of the property that would follow a review of the rezone, your task is to think about the overall intensity change. How many acres, Zach, are involved in the application
20.
for the Plan Commission?
Yeah, so it's a big piece of land. It is isolated. It's actually one of the few parcels in the city that does not have primary access to a dedicated right of way. So there's no street access whatsoever to this parcel.
So how would they get there in the future?
So the proposal includes access through the existing operation. So the
Oh.
existing operation here. Sorry, again, I'm going back to maps, but you can kind of see here, there's mining going on.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're accessing off Sprague and they would just essentially cut through here.
Okay.
Why are they wanting to change this one and go into this one versus going into the one that's already zoned right north of it?
I think the long-term plan is to eventually go up to that parcel, but I think they're trying to go to this parcel first. That would be a good question during the hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. There's also the SEPA process. Most of you know about the SEPA process, but this does require SEPA review. So we are doing that concurrently as well.
Yeah, that might be new to the new Planning Commission members, Zach. So in your packet, you received a copy of the application materials, and one of the elements of a review of a rezone is looking at the impacts that rezone would include. In those questions in the checklist that are in your packet and you see before you are intended for the applicant to let us know about how transportation would be impacted or how air quality would be impacted. Are they going to be withdrawing water or injecting water in relationship to the project? And so the purpose of a checklist is to identify potentially if there are going to be any negative impacts, but more specifically, if there are any significant negative impacts that would arise as a result of this land use application. And it is an instrument that we utilize based on state law, which requires this review to understand the implications of a project. That's simply what it is just to give us an informed application around those various elements. And you will be seeing as part of this application a determination by staff about whether there are significant impacts if any additional what we call mitigation is appropriate for the project. So that's the purpose of SEPA. SEPA stands for the State Environmental Policy Act. And as I mentioned, it's a state requirement since 1972, I believe, that requires certain actions taken by agencies, public agencies, to review the implications of the decisions they're about to make, like a consideration of a rezone.
So as Heather said, yes, and so at the hearing next month, you will have at that point determination on SEPA to review. So if we determine there's any mitigation measures required for the environmental impacts, but you'll also have a full staff report prepared, which breaks down the proposal to each specific municipal code section that applies to that proposal. So you'll have a lot more information to review in that next packet before we get to the public hearing. So. And a PowerPoint.
And Reader's Digest version.
So that will be brought in the next meeting, I guess, right? April 12th?
Yeah, that will be April
12th.
the 12th. Yeah.
Okay.
And just as a heads up, I will be giving the presentation. Heather will be out of town that week, so you're stuck with me. So
You're in very good hands. And since Zach mentioned this, the staff report includes the city's adopted decision criteria to consider for a rezone application, and so that will be there, as well as an analysis by staff of the application based on this decision criteria. That information is also shared with the applicant, and I would like to mention that tonight we actually have the attorney for the applicant, Elizabeth Tellison, is here, and we may have some additional representatives of the applicant here as well. I think they're here just to kind of listen in tonight, but you'll have an opportunity to hear specifically from the applicant and the applicant's representatives about the proposal. You'll be able to ask questions of the applicant next month, and they will have a chance to also respond to the staff report at next month's meeting.
I don't have any questions on the matter. Anybody else?
I have a couple of questions if it's not inappropriate to ask him at this point.
Who's that? I can't
Bill.
see. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
So, Zach, I guess maybe for you or Heather, do we know what's being transported in the pipeline that runs through there?
Is it a utility line you're wondering about?
Well, there's an easement for a pipeline, and the easement is mentioned in the packet, the application packet, but I didn't see anywhere where it specified what's being carried in that pipeline, or if it's natural gas, or liquefied gas, or if it's petroleum or something else. I was just curious if we know what it is, or if we can find out what it is.
We can definitely look into it. I don't know off the top of my head, looking at my maps. There is a reclaimed water line that runs along the parcel boundary, maybe for that. But that's kind of my best guess at this point, but I can follow up for you on that one.
Okay, my second question regards the setbacks. So I printed a copy of the map and I'm looking at it. And it looks like, I guess, I'm assuming this is with the current zoning, there's a 50-foot setback from the property line. Whereas the property owner's current mining operations in the current industrial zone doesn't reflect the setback. So I'm assuming kind of that all the setbacks would be eliminated. And the reason I bring that up is because obviously this parcel is adjacent on two sides to the Spokane County's ORV park, looks like. And so now I'm starting to think, okay, what are the possible impacts on those folks using the ORV park if mining operations begin there? And that brings me kind of to my third question, I guess, is do we have, or can we maybe find out, if it's not inappropriate, whether the county would be interested in snapping up that 20-acre parcel to expand their ORV park, since they've already bordered it on two sides. So if those are the things that jumped out at me.
Sure. So the piece of property that is subject to the hearing next month is currently in the ownership for CPM Mining. They have bought it. They bought it not long before the application.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I would suggest that the limits of our review are to the application before us.
Heather, can you speak to the setbacks as well?
Well, with regards to there being analysis of the conformity of a potential use at a site, that would actually be associated with the proposed conditional use permit. Any mining operation, which is part of the conditional use permit, that's not part of the application you're going to be reviewing, just as background, does have additional state permitting requirements to go with that. So that would be like the final reclamation of the site. There also are local agency requirements that apply to operations having to do with basically if they have any storage on site of fuels, if they're going to be doing any kind of processing, etc. So we can certainly provide an overview of the differences between the light industrial and the heavy industrial standards as part of the staff report for the hearing next month. But the staff won't be getting into details about the specificity, but we'll talk about the range of uses that would be allowed in each of the zones as well.
That 33 feet pipeline easement, is it a gas pipeline? The legend says it's a underground gas pipe on the drawing.
Cal, are you referring to the site plan included in the application materials?
Yeah, the parcel notes. We can have that for the next time, whatever it is. I was just looking at that.
Certainly. But I would just say that these are great questions, and they're exactly the type of elements in an overview or briefing to the commission that we would want to have, so that we would be prepared to address in more in-depth information for the commission as we move forward. And so Zach has noted these things, and he'll be providing that additional information about the pipeline or other adjacent easements to the site, as well as the comparison of the development standards for the two zones for the commission to consider as part of this review.
Any other commissioners have any questions or discussion on the matter? Stuff.
We lost Zach.
We lost Zach? Oh,
Yeah, no,
that's okay. Zach, are you there?
no worries. He'll probably just join us in a moment. We've been experiencing internet issues through the day. Welcome to continuing.
We'll have to probably wait for him.
Broadband.
We'll have to probably wait for him, because I think review of the planning commission policies, I think he's gonna handle that too, right? Oh,
He's just joining us now.
There he is. Is he back?
Yep.
Zach?
Yeah, apologies, my internet fell off a cliff for some reason, but we're back.
It looks like one of the applicant's representatives has provided a response in the chat that the pipeline on the site plan is a petroleum pipeline, and it runs adjacent to the mining parcel.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Madden, for answering that question. With that, if there are any additional areas that the commission would like information, maps or details for next month's hearing, just please let us know here before we move on to the next item.
It'll be a good exercise for everybody to go through this.
Absolutely, and I'll, since we have new commission members we'll talk about communication in the next section D of today's agenda.
Zach, or anything further on, Heather, anything further on this topic before we close it and move to D?
No, not unless there was another question or request from the commission in preparation for next month.
I think everybody, no, anybody have any questions before I close and move to D? No, let's move to workshop D, review of planning commissioner policies and procedures, public hearing. I think Zach is handling that.
I think Heather is.
Okay, Heather, sorry, I don't know.
That's okay.
He just gave it to you, Heather.
Count it. Okay. Awesome. So this is really informal. You know, as we walk through this, if any of the existing or new commission members have questions, you know, we'll stop and we'll talk a bit about it. This is because this can be completely new. For those of you who already have had other board experience, this may seem a little bit familiar. So just as we've discussed earlier, the Planning Commission is an advisory body to the City Council. So at the end of a hearing, the request will always be to the Planning Commission to make a motion and to vote on that motion with regards to the proposal before you. And in the case of a public hearing on a rezone application, the question is if the commission wants to make a decision, either recommending approval, they could certainly make a recommendation of approval with conditions, and you can also make a recommendation of denial of the application. These are recommendations. It's not a decision point for this application before the Planning Commission. The recommendation is forwarded to the City Council with your vote and with additional information and what we might identify as findings with regards to the support of the recommendation that is being made to the City Council. So I skipped to that part because I really wanted to kind of help bridge that part of the meeting earlier about the role of the commission is ultimately to make a recommendation to the City Council. So just jumping back a little bit, there's a very specific process that the commission has adopted about how hearings are conducted, and the goal of the hearing is to be open, it is to be fair, and it is to provide opportunities for, as I mentioned earlier, the applicant to present their case, for the city to provide their analysis of the application, for the commission to discuss the application before them and afford the commission the opportunity to ask questions. It very importantly also includes another element, which is for the public to attend the hearing and be able to provide testimony to a commission about the application. So hearings have a specific format. And one of the things that's very specific here is the order in which it's done, but more importantly is that hearings are supposed to be a dialogue, and it is not intended for there to be an opportunity to disrupt by any member attending the meeting, to make comments that would be disparaging or discriminating, or to be disruptive to the hearing itself. And so Cal, as the chair, has the role of setting these expectations for all the parties that attend this hearing, and also to be what we might call the referee. And so Cal is going to be switching from each party's opportunity to speak, or what we call testify, but he's also going to make sure that that all of these elements are upheld as part of the hearing, so that we have a good process, that people have the opportunity to speak and share information, but at the same time not be insulting or disparaging to other people at the hearing. So I'm going to pause there for a moment and see if there's any questions just about overview of the participation and the outcome of a hearing.
Heather, I'm going to ask like a kind of stupid question probably, but are these rules binding in any way?
They are, to the extent that it empowers Cal as the chair to uphold the tenets of the meeting, the process and the conduct of the meeting. So for example, while someone is testifying, if they are being demeaning to the applicant, Cal can call them on that based on this explanation at the onset of the meeting to all parties, that there's an expectation of conduct. And so, yes, it does allow for there to be an interjection into that moment to allow that person to understand that they've breached basically the meeting requirements, reformulate how they may approach their testimony, and then finish their testimony. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense. I guess I'm asking the question wrong, because there's sections of this code it's code, right? I'm just making sure I'm correct.
It's
This
more
is
than a
actually,
procedure.
pardon?
It's a procedure, right?
Right, it's the adopted policy of the Plan Commission about how they're going to conduct a hearing.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is there's sections in this policy that say we have to do certain things that we physically can't do. So how do we address the fact that part of the policy we literally can't do, but it's saying we have to do it, but then enforce other sections of it that say, like we're saying that we're going to follow this section, but not other sections?
I guess I would have to have an example, Mark, of something that we're not able to follow in the policy to help answer your question.
So I think it's if we scroll down, it's talking about each person has to go to a podium, has to physically be in person at this meeting. They can't testify from another location and stuff like this. So it's what we're doing is that though.
Well, let me just say something. Before we went to Zoom, this procedure was followed as it's written down. We used to have a podium, people used to go there, but after Zoom started, things have changed a little bit. So
I understand that, Cal, but we still, if it's still a policy though, like how do we justify not following all of it?
I can answer that question, Mark. And it has to do with the city did adopt a standard that was allowed by the governor's office with regards to addressing public hearings due to COVID. And so, as you know, many local governments did suspend the elements of in-person meetings. So when you're looking at this policy, this is a pre-COVID policy of the Planning Commission. And we have been meeting virtually since COVID, and we have not been able to return to a physical space solely for meetings due to technology issues in the space that we have. And so today, the City Council has adopted a policy of a hybrid model because of the difficulty with the technology. Now, we hope with a grant that we received in 2022, we will shortly be able to solve those technology issues. So we continue to attempt to meet the tenets of this policy. So when we speak about podium, here on this Zoom platform, either through web or through telephone, people identify that they want to speak, and they're given the opportunity to be the speaker as they would at a podium by virtue of either having logged in on a computer or by a telephone. So in that way, we can still be inclusive and follow the process of the policy, even though we're not physically in the courtroom of City Hall.
Okay, thank you. I didn't realize that we had there was other offices that adopted a policy to overrule this policy. So when I was reading it, I was kind of confused because like, wait a minute, we're not actually doing that.
To my knowledge, the city council on their existing agenda still says that due to the nature of, what happened with COVID, that they've adopted basically Zoom as a method for doing council meetings, and the council allows for all of its members to participate by Zoom, or they have the option presently to come into the room. But above and beyond that, we are and have talked about that we lacked the technology in order to bridge between the live broadcasting of the meetings and Zoom and in person. And so Mark remembers this, and Cal, since you were both here pre-COVID, which was operating all of that equipment in the courtroom. We've not been able to do that. As a matter of fact, what microphones we had finally died 2 meetings ago, and we're using a telephone speaker in the middle of the room for the city council in order to try and capture voices so that it can be put into the broadcast.
Wow. Sorry to side rail this.
This is a good discussion because we have new commission members and we haven't touched on this in a couple of months because we had been seeking a contractor to install the equipment since last summer when we originally received the grant, and we did have to do a second bidding just to get a contractor or contractors interested, and we were successful. And just a couple of weeks ago, the contract was awarded to a firm to install the equipment. And so I imagine in the next month or two, the courtroom will be refitted with the appropriate audio and visual equipment so that it will be possible for us to discuss with the commission if you want to go back to in-person meetings so that we can broadcast as well as do Zoom simultaneously, or if you want to do a hybrid model. But we'll bring that back onto the agenda for the commission once the technology is in place. But just frankly, 2 meetings ago, there was no audio coming through on the Zoom, like at all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that day to do that hybrid model.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for giving a specific question of how to make the policy, but we can get into additional information if you're wishing to about the city adopting hybrid and trying to bridge these technologies and in person. But I believe the commission's goal has always been trying to get back to at least an opportunity for in person and be able to broadcast those meetings as they were previously.
Thank you, Heather.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm just moving on. We've talked about Cal as the chair will be setting up the expectations for the participants. He'll be discussing the role, the sequence of how each of the speakers will go. Normally, there is an opportunity for the applicant at the end to provide what's called a rebuttal to all of the testimony provided. And this is just, I want to be really clear, this is not a court proceedings. You are not conducting a case as if you are a judge, and the type of procedures that a current courtroom may sound similar, but this is not the same setting. This is an advisory body following their process to hear all the parties and help you have enough information to ultimately make a recommendation to the city council. the most important thing is that this hearing is what's called an open record hearing. So that means that not only are all the application materials that have been submitted up to the date of the hearing, but all public comments that have been submitted in writing are provided to you, and the testimony provided at the hearing are all on the record. They're all officially part of the consideration of the Planning Commission for the recommendation that you're going to be making. The difference between an open record and a closed record hearing is that in a closed record hearing, the body who's reviewing it can only look at the materials that were already put into the record. They are supposed to, speak to the case and all the information that was collected up to that point, and new testimony or new evidence is not allowed on the closed record, but you're doing an open record, so people can bring additional information. I would say that the important part here is that in giving people opportunity to speak. I believe there's a timing mechanism here for individual testimony by the public. It is within your ability to limit that. So let's say you had 10 people attend the hearing and you wanted time so that everyone would have a fair opportunity to provide their comments. You could establish a time limit and set that up at the beginning of the hearing and say, thank you, testimony will be limited to 5 minutes. And then you would be consistent in applying that as you move forward. Those are probably most of the important tenets. And then of course, the other part is that everything is based on evidence. And that as much as possible that the information that you're considering is factual, and that that you're reviewing the decision criteria for a rezone. So that is where you can get people who will express feelings, may even speculate about a outcome, but we're really dealing with facts and evidence that are submitted and the decision criteria that is here. So an example that I've heard many times is someone will express the concern that a potential action like a rezone will affect their property value. The question is, what evidence do you have? Have you spoken, and do you have a letter from a real estate agent? What values have you been able to review and provide to us on the record, comparatively of a property adjacent to this use that reflects a change in property value? Does that help with understanding the difference between a feeling or an expression, which everybody has the right to provide, versus providing evidence into the record? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking across the faces here. I'm looking for nodding heads. Okay. So can you scroll down a little bit more, Zach, please? I'm going to talk a little bit about in a hearing, and this goes across any hearing that you have having to do with appearance of fairness and conflict of interest. So the goal as a person who is working on behalf of a local agency, or if you were part of a larger state agency, is to have an appearance that the hearing is fair, and to avoid elements that would imply that there is a predetermined outcome to the hearing, in making statements like, well, before the hearing, like, I'm not gonna approve this, or I wouldn't recommend approval of this, or in some way, making a comment that would bias the ability to fairly review a case. And so the goal is for everybody, despite all of the individual and very unique backgrounds of the commission members, to come with an open mind to the hearing, and to conduct yourself in a way of being open to that information. Now, at the end of the day, as Cal so eloquently put it, you do not have to agree on every point or every project that comes before the commission, but certainly you should feel free to have a discussion about the project, and ask questions about the project. The other element here, is conflict of interest, and so it's very important at the onset of any of these applications that come before the commission that if there is a relationship that with the applicant, or a way in which a commissioner could benefit financially, specifically as a result of that project or consideration, would be to disclose that before the hearing, and to identify what the nature of that conflict is. And so there are kind of two paths there. If there is a conflict that is identified, and one is that the commissioner simply recuses themselves and and leaves and is no longer participating in the hearing on the matter before them. That is the cleanest, in my opinion, way to deal with a conflict. So let's say that you had a subdivision application that came before you, and you had a significant other that was an employee of the company that was subdividing the property and would eventually own and develop that property. There would be a potential financial benefit because of that significant other being involved in the development of the property. That would be something you'd want to disclose. And potentially may want to remove yourself from being involved in the hearing. The other way, there could be something where there is a conflict of interest, but you could identify it for the other commission members, what the nature of the conflict is, and if you felt that you would be able to overcome that conflict, and the commission can decide if you should continue to participate or not. So, for example, let's say that the commission member is a board member of an organization that is involved in an application, isn't directly engaged in operations, purchasing, or the outcome of a proposal. That might be a possibility that you could say, hey, I'm a board member, but my participation is policy review with this organization. I'm not involved directly in any elements of the operation of this particular facility that is before us as a commission to review. That would be one where you could present again a potential conflict of interest, and if you felt like you could be fair and allow the commission to consider your continued participation in the hearing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if you can go just a little bit more. I think that might be all the pieces having to do with hearings.
Okay. Heather,
Yes.
if you can address that issue, not issue, but that commissioners cannot have meetings on their own.
Yes.
Please, if you don't mind.
That's a really good point. So as a commission, there should not be communication by email or meetings of the commission in which there is a quorum of the commission outside of a public notice to meetings. Further is that the commission should not be engaging in any form of voting via email outside of a notice meeting. And so the goal around this limitation on your communication as a quorum is to continue to uphold this appearance of fairness around particular projects and to prevent potentially bias getting into application review. But more importantly is this meeting and every meeting that you have is required to be an open public meeting, and it requires a specific notice to be provided so that the public has the opportunity to attend. And so by discussing even topics as simple as, hey, we were going to interview some potential planning commission members. We want to develop a list of questions. Let's, get off the line, let's get on the email and we'll develop a list and then we'll all agree to it. I mean, even that level of discussion needs to happen in an open public forum versus in a dialogue that involves a quorum or more of the commission members. Is that helpful in understanding why email and in-person, that a majority view, or basically anything that constitutes a quorum, cannot get together and talk about an issue for the commission? Now I'm going to separate that from we're going to have an open house early summer on the comprehensive plan update. We're going to invite all the commission there. Some of you could come, some may not. You're going to wander through the booths. You're going to talk to a citizen or something like that. That is okay. That is attending a function where you're not going to be discussing with each other, the merits of the comprehensive plan draft. That is okay. You can attend functions and be there with other commission members. Is that helpful for everybody?
Yes, Heather.
And also there is a class that's free offered locally. So whenever that's available, I think staff should be able to provide you information. And it's normally in Spokane Valley. They have a free seminar that addresses the basic order of public office, I guess, right?
Absolutely. So it's one version is called a planning short course, and it's often offered by the Washington State Department of Commerce. And we will send you notice about that. And it's a great overview of like the relationship between zoning and the comprehensive plan, or the role of the plan commission as an advisory body to the city council. In addition to that, we're going to send you a link to the Secretary of State's 5-minute video on I think it's open public meetings. So you can watch it and you can see what the requirements are for open public meetings. It's a great little video resource. I believe the Attorney General's office developed it, and they get way more in depth, probably at the level you may not need to know about because you're not council members, but we'll send that link over to you as well so you can watch that before the hearing next month.
Thank you, Heather.
Sure, absolutely. I love doing crash courses.
Anybody have any questions about the review of the planning commissioner's policies and procedures? If none, I'll close the workshop and open up commissioner's report. And I would like to open if any commissioner wants to say anything.
I don't have anything, Cal.
Come on, Mark, say something. Sorry. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to announce that I'll be stepping down after the next meeting. April 12th will be my last meeting, and I would like to thank everybody for supporting me in the last 5-6 years. I can't even remember exactly how long I've been here, but also I feel that with the new commissioners, the team is going to continue. And I think that you guys will be able to continue good work. And I'd like to thank everybody. But April 12th will be my last meeting.
Thank you, Cal. Best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, thank you for all your hard work and serving.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything to say? Open to commissioners? If not, I'd like to hand it over to staff for reports.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna say, I really enjoyed working with you, Cal, and I'm very sad that we're losing you as a commissioner. You've done such a wonderful job leading the commission and helping, create kind of that North Star with regards to the direction of the commission, rallying the commissioners to be engaged around projects and you've had some interesting hearings over the last many years, and I just want to say I really appreciate you and your professionalism and how welcoming you've been to Zach and I, coming to the city here just 3 short years ago. So thank you very much, and I really wish you the best.
Thank you, Heather.
So Zach, I can assume you're going to have some type of head device for us all to wear next meeting, right?
Oh, boy. Well, let's let Heather finish her report before I get.
Okay, well, I will, I'll just give a couple of updates and just super excited. So we're in the middle of hiring engineering firms to do the design for US 2, which will go from Craig Road to Garfield Road. And that project will take a year. We'll be doing a community engagement process around the design. So just a reminder, this is including multimodal facilities, so separated walk, bicycle facilities, including in-lane along US 2, looking at transit, doing enhanced crossings across US 2, helping to define our downtown between Lawson and Lundstrom and King Street, and the design there to help facilitate traffic through the city, but also slow it down in that downtown area as we move forward. Super happy to get that project going. That was a direct strategy out of the downtown plan that the planning commission recommended and was adopted by the city council to make dramatic and quick changes to US 2 in order to change that interface between the street and the businesses and make it a place people want to be. We also were in the midst of accepting an engineer for the design for 6th Avenue. So we did get a grant to complete 6th Avenue. So it will now connect to Craig. And that will also go out to bid for construction in February of 2024. And it will be done by the end of 2024. So that will allow for transit to go all the way down 6th Avenue, be an extension, I believe, of Route 61, hit Craig Road, come down and hit US 2 and come back. Also, the Craig Road roundabout is very, very close to the design being completed. The Spokane Tribe has indicated that they want to complete the construction of that roundabout this year. So that will help with the whole transit route, but it'll be an important measure along US 2 to assist with congestion and safety. That median there at Craig Road and US 2 is a temporary measure because of accidents that were occurring there. So we'll be seeing that project move forward here shortly. We are actively looking for additional transportation grants in 2023 and gearing up for that, as well as making requests to the state and to the federal level for appropriations to help build the roadway. And then I should just mention, we also are likely to have a new multi-use path along Craig Road from 6th Avenue to the new roundabout. On the west side, we did get a grant for that, and so we're be working on getting that under design this year, and it would also be constructed as we move forward. So lots of transportation information, and then Lime contacted us. They are getting ready to deploy their bikes and scooters this year. They're replacing all of the units. I think we're going to have new inventory. Zach and I will be meeting with them next week to talk about that, and we'll do another kickoff event for Lime. So that'll include demonstrations, likely free helmets again for the Lime scooters and bikes. So those will be out in our community in 2023 as we move forward. And it's, I think, probably a good summary, because I think Zach has the really big news next.
Well, do you want to touch on the comp plan?
Oh, yeah, so the comp plan, we are, I think, resolving some of the elements that were holding us up for the comprehensive plan update. Those were discussions about water and coordinating with regards to kind of a market forecast versus development plans. So we'll be bringing agreements before council in the next couple of weeks to renew with our consultants, Big Sky and Framework. And I believe our tentative updated schedule would likely be a draft of the comp plan that we would bring to the planning commission probably in May. And as Angelina had spoken to, we've been working decision points along the development of that plan with the planning commission. So looking at a new vision for the plan, including community engagement. We looked at transportation alternatives. We looked at several different land use alternatives, including some changes of land use designations and urban growth areas. And so this plan is now based on that preferred alternative that was recommended by the planning commission and adopted by the city council. What that would mean is we would start this summer to schedule plan commission meetings with you all to go through the draft, and we may be asking for meetings more than once a month to go through that draft, as well as having our we'll have an open house over at the rec center and do some online opportunities for people who can't make it to the rec center to provide comment and review of the draft, and then following the planning commission's recommendation, take it to city council. So my hope is that we would have the comp plan adopted by this summer.
Nice.
But as some of the commission members know, there's some pretty hefty decision points in that draft, especially around housing, which is a really critical issue for everybody in the region. So this is just a quick update on some of the projects. Dak, blow it out of the water.
Well, I just want to echo, all the sentiment towards Cal. You've been a rock on the planning commission, and we really appreciate all the work you've done. And you just couldn't let me have a month with a full commission. You just couldn't do it. So I appreciate that. But we wish you the best, and whatever you do, you'll be great, because you're a great guy.
Thank you.
So the big news is, as of about 3 o'clock this afternoon, the city has launched its new website. So if you have a moment, check it out. A lot of work went into it. There's still some work we're doing on the back end of stuff. We're developing a internal intranet for employees to be able to share information and post stuff between internal city employees, as well as our traffic engineers and stuff like that. But the new site is up. It's with our new city logo. It looks great. It's got all sorts of new cool pictures. We're really proud of it. We're happy. So yay. As Mark and Cal have heard me talk about this for months and months and months.
It looks good though. It does look nice.
Yeah, well, I
Wow.
appreciate that.
Very nice colors.
Oh, did you take over? Oh, okay.
I did. And the great thing is these photos, for the most part, there's a few stock ones, but these are sourced from Airway Heights. This is the real Airway Heights, and I think it does a great job of portraying the community that we are.
Yeah, it looks great.
Nice.
Yeah, so every page, all 119 of them have been reviewed and updated, expanded. There's new stuff. There's too much to talk about, but an updated calendar. We're gonna get the planning commission meetings on that calendar. So if you, instead of relying on my Outlook invite, you can just go to the city website, click on that, you're good to go.
Oh,
So it's also, we're integrating it with our Parks and Rec department. So all the events that are happening over the Parks and Rec department are now going to be cross-listed. So you'll be able to, again, go to the one website and go, oh, you know, there's a dance class tonight at the rec center. I didn't know that. So you're not having to go to multiple websites to do that. There's a lot. Can you go to the Arts Commission? Actually, I had them fix it this morning, but I really like it. I rewrote all these pages, by the way, but I put that image there. I love that image, so I thought that was really fun. It's an actual piece of public art we did as a pop-up project that you guys were a part of a few years back, Mark and Cal, and that was our demonstration project. And this is that Arts Commission that you guys helped found. So yeah. So when you have a few minutes, take a walk through it. It's really fun. We are working on the mobile version of it that should launch sometime in April. It'll come basically with the ability to save it. So you'll have an icon on your phone. So it'll essentially work just like an app. So you can click on that and it goes there. It'll send you text alerts when there's any important stuff going on in the city. Yeah. So hooray. Yay.
very
Good work, good
cool.
work.
Yeah. So we're really excited.
Congratulations.
Big achievement.
It's I'd like to say it's off the plate, but I know there's a lot of back end stuff I still gotta work on. So it's published. We're happy. That's great. So next on here, actually, Heather, can I have the keys back, please? Thank you.
Oh, have you got your learner's permit?
Oh, I hope so. Otherwise, we're all in trouble. Let's see. Another exciting project that we've been working on for probably 9 months. The hearing examiner did issue a conditional use permit for the city's first mixed use project. So this project will have 93 apartment units and I think about 16,000 square feet of commercial, and it'll be located right here between 10th and 12th Avenue off Garfield. So this is Highway 2. This is the Stratford Suites Expediters, so right back there. So we're now working on the construction aspect of that. It'll probably be still a while, obviously, but I think we adopted the mixed use overlay in 2012 and amended it in 2018, and it is now 2023 and we have our first mixed use project. So it took a minute, but we're very happy we do have a new project. So that'll be really cool and it'll be really great for the community, and hopefully it'll spur up some more mixed use development within our commercial zone, because there's a lot of room to do it.
Nice.
And it means 93 more units of housing.
That too. Speaking of
Nice.
housing, I haven't had a chance to talk about this with Heather yet, so I'm not going to get too into it. But if you're interested in state policy, House Bill 1110 is going through the state legislature right now, and it has to do with middle housing options. It has a lot to do with what we talked about with the comp plan and are going to talk about. It would be really, really impactful for the city of Airway Heights. I kind of looked at it on the map today and read through it and tried to see how impactful, but it would essentially take our single family residential zoning and turn that from 1 unit per lot to a minimum of 4. Most units will be 6. So
Nice.
to give you an idea of how much density that one bill would bring to the city, it's something like 95% of lots would qualify for that. So it's not passed yet. It's still going through the procedures. It's through the House. It's currently in the Senate. So keep an eye on that one because that's something that we'll have to do some pretty serious work on if it passes. So,
Nice.
Hmm.
yeah, it's really interesting and it's not that long a read. So check it out if you're interested in the housing stuff. So Heather and I have begun the process of updating our landscape code. We have met with a who are we working on with that? I'm sorry, Heather.
SPVV.
SPVV, yeah. So an engineering firm who does landscaping. And Angelina, we were talking about, and this is for you just because I know you're interested in it, but we're really pushing for zero scaping and low impact development through that. Sorry, my dogs are freaking out. Through the landscaping code. So we're really excited about that. We'll keep you updated as that proceeds. But you will see that and get a chance to look at it before it's passed.
All right.
And lastly, with a new website comes a new GIS system, and that's going to be the next 3 or 4 months of my life. So I will be working with that. I've done kind of yearly updates on that for you guys. So I'll probably bring a nice PowerPoint and a clickable fun thing to look at once it's ready. But just know we are working on it. So and that's all I have.
Exciting.
Thank you,
You
Zach.
act like that's not a lot.
You should see what's not done, Mark.
Hey, look, that website looks amazing, Zach. And I mean, the ability to go look at these individual parcels like you can do now, come on, that's like miles ahead of what we were just a few years ago. You did an amazing job.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I just look at it and I know there's so much more we could do if I had the time. And I'm trying to dedicate more time to it. So once we get there, I got some ideas I think we can pull off that'll be really, really cool and really help the community, and not only the community, but the business community and investment in the city. So
Nice.
I think the next meeting is gonna be long, right? Heads up to everybody.
I think for the next meeting, you have the hearing. I don't think it'll take more than
2 hours.
30 minutes. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I'm not sure that there's a lot to it, but at this point, we don't have anything else planned to add to that agenda.
yeah, I don't think it'll be too long.
Okay.
Main thing's going to be that hearing, and we'll see how things go with Andre. But Andre might be getting introduced during that meeting as well. So
Okay.
Nice. Did Andre stick around for the rest of this meeting or did he leave?
We did.
Yes, I'm
Hopefully you got
here. I just haven't been
Hopefully-
saying anything. I've been listening.
Hopefully you got a good introduction to what we do. And, I feel like we do a lot of impact for this city. So most of the decisions the city makes at the end of the day is going through one of these commissions. And we're often one of those commissions.
Yes, it's awesome. It really is. Just I thoroughly enjoyed my time just listening and seeing the abundance of information that's coming forth. And I had no idea all of this was taking place, but I'm super excited about the direction in which Airway Heights is going. It's going to be a phenomenal city for sure.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have anything to add tonight before we adjourn? If there's no further discussion, I would like to adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:23 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
have a good night, everyone.
All right, good
Thank
night.
you.
Take care.
All right.
Yes,
Bye.
bye. See you all next week, next month.